I'm going to start recording. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys what is limbic system therapy. Like, and I'm going to, this is what I explain to my patients. And if you have a problem following me, let me know. And you, I'm going to make it so funny that you guys will get it. So limbic system therapy, you laugh even before it's done because I feel if I can make my kids understand, I feel I can make the whole world understand. So I always keep it very simple. I don't like fancy words. So limbic system therapy is to tell you we are all rhinos. We all have a rhino brain, rhinocephalon, okay? Okay, we have a rhino brain, okay? And the rhino brain goes and camps out in hippo's camp. Hippo camp. So the guidance counselor is who? Mr. Hippo, right? So hippocampus, right? So hippocampus is what? He keeps a tab of all the memory. I'm saying it could be a girl or a boy. I don't care. Because it's a boy or a girl hippo. But the problem is, right, the memories, if it is sweet, hey, Mike is calling. Hello? Yeah, bring, nobody's here. Yeah, bye-bye. Yeah, see you. So hippocampus, right, it keeps memories. So the memories could be sweet, then you don't have a problem. If memories are bad, that's when it gets to be a problem because you build a bad relationship and then you get stress and emotion and you get screwed up. And who is screwing up? It is a reptile, alligator pond. It's called amygdala. Amygdala is the reptilians. Okay, we have the reptile brain because that's where personality disorders, borderline and all this are. Borderline is because people couldn't make out whether it's neurotic behavior or psychotic behavior. So if the distinction between neurotic and psychotic in a simple term is, if you know what you know and you do something you do because you know what you do for a particular reason, you're neurotic because you can be compulsive. But if you don't know what you don't know and you do something you do and you believe you have a right to do it, you're psychotic, okay? Without reasoning, with reasoning, right? So that's all it is. And so you are in a Disneyland and you're watching it from your park bench and you're looking at the alligator, you have no problem. But if you want to go dangle your feet in the pond and alligator captures you, you have to understand either you know how to swim out very, very fast or you need to fight it so that it opens its mouth, right? Mm-hmm. So if you have an issue with a personality disorder person, you need to use a skill word so you don't get sucked in and get killed, right? Like you work with borderline personality and stuff. So you kind of know. So that's all it is. So limbic system is figuring out how are you going to engage with the guidance counselor in the hippocampus and how you are not going to get your feet caught with the alligator pond, right? And that's what the rhino's job is, rhinocephalon. And originally, limbic system, they thought is only in the brain. And after endocannabinoids and all are invented, we figured out actually the cannabinoid receptors, CB2 receptors, which creates addictive personality and stuff, which is emotional brain. It's actually housed also in, so it's all lymphatics. If you understand how to reset your lymphatics, you can clear your emotional brain because it's all about secretions, whether it's autonomic nervous system or endocrines or endocannabinoids. These are all in the hair follicles. Believe it or not, it's the breathing space in the hair follicle that creates endocannabinoid receptors. This is the non-scientific way I'm explaining. Now let's hear the fancy way she's going to say it, okay? And you would see the connection and you will probably get it.
The limbic system. Broadly speaking, it's the emotional part of the brain. It contains both the hippocampus and the amygdala. The hippocampus is associated with memory, and the amygdala is involved in detecting threat. Now, you might have noticed that he said what people used to call the limbic system. That's because there's some question about whether or not it's still useful to think of all the parts of the brain that make up the limbic system as a unified system. However, what's important to take away here is this. Trauma doesn't necessarily live in the part of the brain that's concerned with reason and insight. It inhabits the parts that shape our temperament, the way we understand the world, and our automatic reactions. So when we target the part of the brain that's feeling and reacting automatically, when we create a new experience that contradicts the lesson that that part of the brain has learned from trauma, that can change the way a person with a trauma history is wired to respond. So what does it look like to have an experience like that? An experience that rewires the brain?
For example, if you grow up thinking that you're helpless and that anybody can do anything to you unless you yell at them, that becomes your disposition. But now, if you take a martial art course, you get to deeply feel like, wow, I can kick anybody in the groin at any time if I feel like it, and I can protect myself. And if you have experienced that, of becoming a martial artist, then that feeling of I'm always helpless will dramatically change.
So that is in a nutshell. So do you want me to stop recording, or do you want to have an input on that? Do you want to be on the camera?
It doesn't matter.
Here.
I'm just my question is, all right, so let me get out of the sun here because it's kind of a little bright. All right. My question is, all right, so the trauma comes from what part? The trauma does not come from the hippocampus. It comes from...
No, the trauma is how we process our world is like, we process it 3 different ways. Okay, the first one is muscle memory.
Yeah.
Muscle memory is easy. Like, if you're hurt,
yeah,
you can heal it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wounds. So wound is a trauma.
Right.
But it doesn't have an emotional piece to it
Mm-hmm.
if you don't have attachment to it. But if in case it's biomemory, let's say there is a certain behavior instilled in us because of our faith and our upbringing and stuff, that's biomemory.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the brain. But the real feeling brain is breathing space. So whatever locks our breathing space and helps us keep, whatever shock, you go into, and then that secret locked place where we stored our trauma gets buried, and we don't know whether we store. That is like personal to each person. That's why some people process trauma in the gut,
Right.
so they eat to release. So it all depends on what is
the trauma, maybe?
No, it's not that. It's how you process
That
your
trauma.
pain.
Okay. So just for instance.
So actually, that's why the voice mapping is very important, because what we do is we change the tone.
Yeah.
So some people will be very aggressive and they'll use like a sharp, raise their voice. But some people will get very subdued.
Right.
So you need to see in that 12 panel, diagram, where is it? That's why voice mapping is the completion for limbic therapy.
Okay.
So the EVOX, the reason I like it is EVOX puts into perspective with the voice mapping, emotional release and stress.
Mm-hmm.
Because we process trauma. Like some people will be choked up in thymus, right?
Mm.
So that is D, right? D. Yeah, I love you still. Why are you yelling at me?
Yep.
Right? But whereas somebody would be, this is the way it is, whether you hit the road or stay. So this is like B, A sharp, very authoritative, parental, like a fiduciary role. And then C is reasoning. Hey, I'll explain to you why I'm doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And so logical, sometimes they're insane. Logic wouldn't work.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to understand which panel you're going to be. And like that advertisement, it says, when you are not yourself when you're hungry. So sometimes you want to emotionally feed them,
right?
Reset their pancreas, their sugar level before you reason with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I love that scale of music, because if you think of it, they are singing a note that is not in harmony.
So it's important to know, what you're saying is it's important to know where the trauma
You bury usually.
is buried, where it is.
Like for me, I
what-
bury always in my ascending colon. Like I can even literally feel it burning,
Yeah.
sometimes.
But how do you, because there are people that have, all right, for example, like if somebody fell and they broke their hip, and now it's very difficult for you to get up. It hurts, move around. They're not able to walk anymore the way they were. They're not able to, they lost their job. So that muscle memory, the muscle memory is there, but the emotion is there too, because it's pain and it's
So
hurt.
in homeopathy, right, there are 3 ways you process emotions. One is like a plant, fight or flight response.
Mm-hmm.
Animal is survival.
Mm-hmm.
And structural. Structural is minerals and muscles, ligaments and stuff. So you heal them the same way. So if it's a structural issue, you would heal them. But structural could only be part of the puzzle. Like I have seen people who, I think, who was it who said, like, they were on the floor for 3 days and they went and found them? Oh, actually, I shouldn't bring her name up.
Yeah.
Remember
Somebody.
the girl who does.
Yes. Something
Her
happened.
mom, because when I called to just check in and see how she was doing, and he said her mom fell for 3 days, was not found. And so now she's attending to the mom. And it was shocking for me. And so when those type of people who have structural issue, remember they were helpless for 3 days.
Yeah.
So there would be emotional issue. So you want to know first, the priority is survival, right? So you are going to heal their structural issue first.
Yeah, because
But
this
then-
is where so the person gets physical therapy, they fix
Yes,
the bone,
yes,
they get
yes.
all of this. The medical stuff is taken care of, but the emotional piece is not. So again and again, they hurt their back or whatever the issue is, they hurt themselves, and it comes up again and again.
Yes,
I
yes.
hurt my back.
Yes.
I don't know why my back is hurt. But it's a connection of when
Because-
they're emotionally not together, or
Yeah.
something emotionally is stressing them out, maybe their back hurts again. So that emotional piece
Has
So
to
to-
be healed too. See,
so
the
it's gotta
typical,
be two that has to be healed,
it's
and that's
multiple levels. The thing is, remember Boston Strong, the movie?
yes.
That's a typical example, right? So
Mhm.
his leg gets blown off and he cannot walk. So that's the first thing he's dealing with. And then, I'm just going by the movie. I don't know what the reality is. Then the fiance's guilt, like she was like almost separate. I don't think this is true because the real movie, the girl who married him was a nurse and who was tending for him. But in the movie, they made it as though they had a relationship before. So if I'm going to go by the movie, she now has to overcome her guilt that she was the reason his leg gets blown off, right?
Yeah.
And then afterwards, he is not like keeping up with the relationship. So eventually, when she's almost breaking apart, is when he takes into responsibility that he needs to heal. So he actually essentially in the end goes through this process and he comes up a winner, right?
Mhm.
And that's when he releases himself.
Mhm.
And he's validated by the whole team, making him throw the first ball. That's his dream. So his dreams one by one gets fulfilled in the end. So it's like if you see, the release was one by one, overcoming the past memories and then creating a new memory, right?
Mhm.
So does it make sense to you the way I say
well,
it?
I guess in a way. Overcoming the past trauma.
That's limbic system therapy. But the limbic system therapy is not just about the past. It's also creating new
ways of thinking.
So the reason is when a brain wires together for the same problem in the past, it creates new behavior.
Mhm.
So the limbic system therapy not necessarily is just about the past. It's also creating a new way of thinking and feeling. That's why he's saying, what if I kick him in the groin? I'm going to be more stronger.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean it's a correct behavior either. So again, you need to adjust. So you can create a new norm, but the new norm might still not be correct. So you keep adjusting according to what is appropriate until you get to a place where you're very, very strong and you become a hero. That's what the whole Boston Strong was about, right? So it doesn't mean it's right or wrong. It's right or wrong for today, but keep working with it because the emotional brain grows very differently.
So I'm just trying to think how I can word this. So the trauma, I had seen something, maybe you could explain this. I seen something about when people go through traumas, they tell them like it's good for them to watch. I saw something about this, like if they went through a trauma, they need to watch that trauma, play it over again, that trauma, and they'll be able to move on.
So the way I understand that is you process with a person who's neutral 5 times until it's not emotionally painful for you to talk about that. But that's not easy to get to. So the best thing is first, what I focus on with cannabinoids is to reset with a new scent, an ability to relax and let go of the hold the trauma had in the past through us. So like, creating like, those experience with a new smell, like, so you are able to process it internally first.
Is that where this talking about
That's
the
why
hair
I like
fibers, the hair fibers. So it's not exactly the hair fibers, it's the olfactory.
Yeah, because
nerve.
everything can be reset with eyes and nose. So the last thing is they say you can poop it out. That's why, like, they create, like in India, they call it Panchakriya. 5-way to cleanse is 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, because they said our eye can also smell. So that's why, like, sometimes when you look at a big banquet, you feel full.
Right.
It's like, doesn't make sense. Like it's almost like rich experience. You don't feel hungry anymore.
It's the presentation, how something looks and smells.
Sometimes that's why when you cook like a feast, you don't feel hungry.
Right. It's too much food.
Yes. So it's like, I think the hoarding behavior is because we are perceiving something is not available. So you want to eat. So when you go into that perception, I have everything in the world. I have 1,000 dishes to choose from. Then the decision fatigue kicks in. Oh my God, of the 1,000 choices, what am I going to choose, right? Like then it becomes like overwhelming. So that's why, like, it's emotional brain is just reset by simple smells. So that's why I try to use like, little lip balm with the CBD panel and customize it so that, and that's like not even like 10 drops or less, right? Like we create our custom formula. And when we take like whether 1 vape or 1 dab of it, you already feel a relief. And, each organ resets for 1.5 hours. So if you go back to the homeopathic method, that's all. They give you a little sugar cube, which is amazing. So I feel once the way I understand, I'm going to say it in 2 different ways. One is the way I am saying it, the current way is you make a resolution inside saying, I'm going to resolve to end this with me. Okay. The second thing is called resoluteness. Resoluteness is given to me as an I Ching symbol, and I'm going to bring it up. This was actually during a deep meditation I got. That's why I wrote this book, Boring Way to Be Happy with a Dysfunction Camp. It said mission resoluteness means balance justice, which could be severe, with fairness. That means go to the law library, figure out what your situation is, what is legally correct. But justice is so severe. That's why I'm saying about justice, because they are so severe because they don't have emotional component. So now you balance it, what is morally fair. Like a visitation could be twice a month, but it's not fair because they are so attached. So I will work with you a little bit more. You understand? So like a give and take. So that's where the resoluteness comes in. So resolution is you resolve something. Resoluteness is universally correct. Then you get resoluteness.
Oh, resolution.
Resoluteness. Resoluteness is original formula that was all the ancients used. because cosmic law, current law, everything is same. Once you understand what the law is, you can tweak it. Like, like you can be a little bit more gentle by being jury system, being fair, Hey, this is the original truth, but I'm willing to work with it. But the last part is this way you manifest your reality. Resoluteness, reality. But the ancient way my teacher says it is how to kill your inner demons, because we start our thinking process from our belly to our throat. Constantly worry. So we spit it out to people. And then that is poison. You're spitting out your poison. So when the poison comes out, if you understand and make a resolution, I'm not going to spit out whatever I'm thinking. I'm going to really process it and say things that is not hurtful to others, right? Sark is flesh, chasm is cutting deep. So I'm going to be very gentle with another person. So that is what you're influencing you, right? So you become influencer for your thoughts. The second level is really listening to person and thinking what they really is the agenda of this meeting. And once you understand that, you talk to their listening in a way that makes sense to them. So you become an influencer of their thinking. When you shift somebody's thinking, you're changing their behavior. Not only their behavior, hundreds of people after them. Because indirectly they're going to talk about it. So the third thing, because of that, you create leadership, whether it's in yourself or others or in the community. So thinking is what is sabotaging us. If we shift the thinking to behaviors that is helpful, that is healing to the emotion, that's what limbic system therapy is, thinking for a change. But the problem is, right, nobody wants to listen to you until you've done their walk. So first you need to say, hey, I've been there. I've done this. And so truly listen and give them the way they want to hear you. That's why I'm saying, if they're talking about their hip pain, don't go and say, hey, I do limbic system therapy. They said, leave the heck alone.
They want to do it their way, or no way. Yeah. So with the limbic system.
So the limbic system therapy is just a fancy word I'm using.
Right.
What it is like, see, when a child gets hurt, you say, oh, I'm sorry, you have a boo-boo. And, then they run off. So it's all validation. So it doesn't matter how old we are. We want to be validated for the day. Hey, I'm so sorry it happened to you. Because nobody is going to say that to them. So you are worth it. You are somebody very important. So I feel the validation of their pain is what they're looking for. And limbic system is a way of validating with a fancy word. Hey, I had a limbic system therapy done, And actually the way I designed my program is limbic system rehabilitation program. Because we have a house. The Ryan Safwan has a house in our brain. And unfortunately it got kicked out long ago. So rehabilitation is bringing them home. Many of the people don't even want to feel at home in their body. So what I'm doing is rehabilitating them inside their body.
In their body, bringing them back to themselves.
Yes. That's all. It's so simple. But unfortunately, I feel sometimes so sorry for that pain. But it's so hard to like just walk away doing nothing either. And until they're in my program, I don't offer it to them because sometimes I feel I don't want to waste my time. But at the same time, I find if they are plugged into their problem, they're willing to seek help. I'm going a little bit further. But in the past, I did free therapy and stuff. It ended up being a waste of my time.
But don't you think that it's lots of times they're not even aware of what the pain is. So to even know to come to get the help that they have, this to resolve these issues.
I think it is. So that's where the grace comes in. The grace is, that's why in Positive 12 Step and all they say, God, like I have made powerless choices. Please help me. To ask for help is a grace. That's why Jesus went and asked for water from a girl. Even though he was God, he showed he had the grace to ask for help. People are so caught up in their way of resolving and it's not working, and it's like insanity is doing the same thing again and again. So that's why serenity prayer. Accept the things you cannot change, and that's where you meet them.
Mm-hmm.
because it's whatever they are doing is not working.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, for them to ask for help is everybody's eager to help,
Right.
but they have to open their door.
They have to, right. So you can be helping somebody, but then might not.
They have to
willing
ask
to
first.
accept it yet. Even
Yes.
though they might be saying it, they're not
Yes.
asking it.
Yes.
And it's just identifying who is really asking it. Are they just coming out and saying, hey, I need help, I'm having a hard time? Or is it, will they come out and ask that? Will it be that?
Not only asking, remember in our program, you and me, we have done it many times. Even though they are asking, they don't mean what they're saying.
They're saying. So how
So
do
you
know
need
the
to
difference?
prioritize again. Hey,
Okay.
okay, you have given me 10 problems. Of these, what's your priority?
What's your priority?
And what's your timeline? Because sometimes it's so funny, they are not even looking for what they're asking.
Exactly. So you go to help somebody, and we found this time and time again. Somebody said, I'm having these issues, whatever the issue is, can you help me? And they come out and they say, can you help me? And you go to help them, and everything that you do is not, it's still not helping them. They don't see any resolution in what you're doing. So at that point, you have to take a step back and say, all right, what is it? Is this where the Limbic system comes in? Is this where we have to say, okay, how are we going to reassess this whole situation?
I always go back to what's your priority. Maybe I'm not getting it right.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, right? Like, this is off the topic, but yesterday, this guy walks into my door, and I don't work on Wednesdays. So he sees my sign and he calls me, and he's never been consistent in the program. So he calls and he says, I have an emergency. I need the medication filled. I said, hey, I can do it as a telemedicine visit, but the cost is a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but if you come in every week, I can bill your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And the cost is different because you're in a program.
Right.
So he says, can you reduce it by $10? And that's when I said, you know what? Let us figure out who would be the best provider for you. Go around, ask, get the best possible pricing for you. And then if it doesn't work out, come and see me on a day when I'm physically there. Because I feel either you can do it your way, which is not working, or you can do it my way. But don't haggle for, it's not even about the $10, but it's the importance he gives
yourself.
To himself. It's not even about me.
It's not even about the money of what you're
So I'm saying, why am I even picking up his phone call on my day off,
Yes.
So I told him, I said, he says, oh, I really need it. I said, no. I said, I understood immediately the priority is finance.
Yes.
It's not going to work because money is nothing.
Right.
He's probably wasting it on many, many things.
Right.
But the thing is, when they are haggling about $10, I don't mind doing it, provided he plugged in every week.
Right.
It's so that's where, and then it causes doubt in my system. So when somebody comes and makes me doubt myself, I don't want them as my client.
Yes.
Because I feel I have done it enough to know it's not worth it. It's not about the money, it's the commitment. Are you committed either in time or to the costs?
Right.
And I feel if both are negative, then are you at least willing for flexibility? No, I want the same service that you will as though bill my insurance, but I don't want to pay. I want this as a service. Why cannot you talk to me? I'm saying, what makes you think you're so privileged that everything has to come free to you?
Mm.
And then I need to maintain my business.
Right.
So I'm willing to, if I give birth to you, definitely I would have done. I'm saying, where is it? I'm not getting you, So that's where it gets, and plus government punishes me for doing all this, right? So they have a strict criteria.
Right, it has to be.
So I would love to give you scripts, randomly, whoever you are calling me. So that's when it gets, and I find it so important to go back to the law then, resoluteness.
Yes.
Hey, by law, I'm not allowed to do this. And then it makes it so easy. So go back to the law, default.
Mm-hmm. I had well, it's not like that, but it's interesting because it's the acceptance of what the patients, their patients' acceptance of themselves and what their priority is is it the money or is it really that you're looking to really get help? And I had something happen where somebody wanted to get Botox. So, I mean, this is kind of like a little bit off the subject, but it's similar because they wanted to get Botox and they came to me and they said, oh my God, you're charging so much more than other people. And, I go up the street and it's cheaper. And I said, well, how long has the person been in practice? And, what are they using Botox? And, what are they using? And they come to find out they were charging a cheaper price, but they didn't have actual product. Like I had Allergan product, they didn't have actual Allergan product. It was something that they bought off of like China, like some off-label brand. You don't even know if it's arsenic in it. You have no idea what it is. And they were willing to pay, even get Groupons and pay for the cheaper. And they came back and I said, well, why don't you just go back to that person that you had gotten it already? And they said, well, because they messed up my face. Well, it doesn't make sense. You want a cheaper price, but they don't know how to do it, or they messed up your face, but you're willing to haggle and come back and haggle over a cheaper price. I have paid for my license. I paid for all of my supplies. There's a price on this because I know that what I do is good, and I have to, I have to charge this. And if you're going around price shopping, you're not really valuing yourself.
Okay.
And I mean, it comes a time where, you want to look and you want to price shop for certain things. Maybe you want to price shop for a car, but you're not going to get the cheapest car, and it's not even a good car because, it's cheap.
There is so much risk. Somebody died yesterday. A homeopath injected something. What did you remember? What it was yesterday?
I didn't see that.
One of my patients said, he forgot what he injected. Like he injected something. I forgot. Like it was like a random thing. You didn't even think of injecting. I don't know whether it's a turmeric or something he injected.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, some people are injecting curcumin. They're injecting the turmeric, and you're not supposed. They're doing.
This is a homeopath. I don't know how he injected and stuff, and they ended up dying. Yesterday, one of my patients said that. But anyway, I'm gonna stop the recording. But it's so fascinating. This what is it called?
Because it's like right in my eye. It's like beaming right on my forehead.